There we go. We are now recording. So I hope everyone's okay with that. It means that, again, we can share this with a wider audience. So I'm going to start now for those of you that were so kind to come on time. We might get a few more dropping in as we go, but we can certainly share it with a wider audience and further. So you are here today, hosted by the AIPP. I've been prattling on for a while, but I'm Peter Robinson. I'm the Chief Executive of the AIPP, many of you know, ably supported by the team. Claire, my wife, is also on the call today, providing support to us all. So settle back and let's talk about the Benelux markets. Let's talk about Belgium, the Netherlands, a little bit on Luxembourg as well. I've known the guys at Fair Consult, or second home buyers, as you might know them in their public-facing name. I don't know how many years now, at least five. And I've been to their shows. I've spoken with the guys and exhibitors and followed the progress of their online growth as well. I've been very impressed with the way that they serve their shows. They're very, very professional in how they do that. They're almost trying not to sell people their immediate options. They want to engage on an advisory basis to start with, to understand what it is that you want to achieve. That's obvious, isn't it? It's sales, but the way you go about doing that to maximize your success is something that they've always done and taken an advisory approach to how they make their business work. If they weren't experts on the market, then they wouldn't be able to serve the buyers up for you. So we're recording, and I'm going to pass over to Henk-Jan in the first instance. Himself and Tom have got some slides to share with you. I think we're such a small group at this point. If you have a question, just ask that question. You can put your hand up if you want to be polite, but just come in. It's not meant to be a monologue, it's meant to be a dialogue. It's not just about the slides. There's a narrative, there's conversation we can all have around the topics that the guys are going to give us. So now, due notice given, Henk-Jan, I'm going to pass to you. Henk-Jan.
Thank you for the introduction, Peter, and welcome everybody. We're not native English speaking as you all are, so maybe some words might not be so clear, but we'll do the best we can. We can talk, of course, for hours about our markets and about our exhibitions and our products, but Peter asked me to keep it a little bit within a smaller time frame, so we try to keep it up to the max of 30 minutes, so with as much information about the market, with our main goal for you to just get an introduction of the market. And if you want to do business in the future, even if it's with our channels or information about the market, that you can always contact me or Tom, who's also in the call, to advise you about the market. So please let me do a little bit introduction about myself. We started the second home exhibitions in Belgium in 2005. So we've been organizing the shows for many years. This fall will be the 60th edition that we organize. Our exhibition and our product is pretty much the same as you might all know about the Place in the Sun show in the UK. We pretty much have the same concept, but we do it in 2 different countries. And that's where we want to inform you about. So pretty much the one side is the Belgian market, the other side is the Dutch market, where we pretty much speak the same language, only we call it different. So we're talking about the Flemish in Belgium, which we of course understand. Tom and I are Dutch ourselves. And we have a little bit of a combination of the French-speaking part in Belgium, and of course the Dutch as a language for the Netherlands. Well, we're lucky to be working with Peter and AIPP and Claire for a while, as Peter just mentioned. So we are glad that we can share some information about the market. Our properties and our products are called the recreational and international second home market. I think that's an important difference than if we do the comparison, for example, with the Place in the Sun, because we have a very strong local market. We have a strong local market, we call it, with the recreational parks. Maybe heard of the name of Center Parks, Pierre and Vacances, Center Parks. where we have the typical Dutch second homes where people invest in, which has been quite popular, of course, during COVID, because people stay within the country. So the rental income in that period was booming pretty much. But we can see already, which I will show you a little bit later in slides, that the interest of the property requests through our portal are slightly changing, which when especially really the number one was the Netherlands for the COVID time, and number two, Spain. And now we can see that Spain has been, we receive more property requests coming in for Spain than the Netherlands. In addition to that, I think it's important to also mention, because there are some companies registered selling non-Spanish. Most of you sell Spanish properties. So that's why we focused a little bit more into the Spanish market. But if you sell properties on other, I saw a few from Turkey and a few from Portugal who logged in. We can share more detailed information about these markets, maybe after this webinar, to you personally, because we have the same information to share. Our market, is you can see, is that of course the most important regions that we sell to are the European countries and the Dutch Antilles. The same as you have the Bahamas, which are islands that I can see when I visit the Place in the Sun, which are popular for the UK buyers. Now we can see a lot of Dutch people, for example, buy properties in Bonaire, Curacao, Aruba, the Dutch Antilles, where they also speak the Dutch language. So just some small differences between both markets. The products that we offer ourselves has been split up, really divided by the expo, the live exhibition, the online property portal, and we have a smaller element that's called Second Home TV, where we do recordings at recreational parks and share that through social media and our own platform. What we talk about today is not too much about the Second Home TV part, but pretty much about the market, first of all, to get an introduction, about the exhibition and about the online channel. Why? Because we have the luxury that we have the only exhibition within our countries, and that we can share a lot of data because of the largest property portal that we have, not only through our channels, but also through our affiliate partner channels, where Tom will talk about a little bit later. That's why I also want to now give Tom the word to talk a little bit, give you a little bit more facts and figures about our property shows, to give you an idea of the differences between the regions, the type of products, the number of exhibitors, the buyer's market. That's why I want to introduce my colleague Tom, who is also online.
Thank you. First of all, Peter, thank you for the invitation and for the great compliment. My name is Tom van der Brink. I'm 40 years old, and I've been doing this work for 6-7 years already now. Yeah, in my position, I'm the contact person to, if you want to book a stand, if you want to have information about online, offline promotion. And during the show, before the show, after the exhibition, I'm the one to speak to. The different exhibitions. Well, first of all, we organize the shows in Belgium and the Netherlands. Apart from the pandemic, we organize 6 times per year, 3 times in Belgium and 3 times in the Netherlands. I think it's important to give you the information per city. The largest show in Belgium is the one in Ghent. And Ghent is the center of Flanders, the Flemish part, so the north part of Belgium. Dutch is the official language in the north part. And we organize the show in the spring and in the fall. If you talk about exhibitors numbers, it's around 110, 120, and around 5,000 visitors in 3 days. Language-wise, as Henk-Jan already told you, it's sufficient to have English or Dutch-speaking employees at your stand. We don't have visitors coming in from the French part of Wallonia. That's the south part of Belgium, but we don't get in the French-speaking visitors. So English and Dutch is sufficient to exhibit at the shows in Belgium, but also in the Netherlands. The other show in Belgium is the one in Antwerp. And Antwerp is the #2 port of Europe, of course, and it's the largest city in Belgium with the most inhabitants. And we organized the show in Antwerp in May, June. It's in the middle between the spring and the fall edition in Ghent. It's a smaller show, around 60, 70 exhibitors, around 3,000, 4,000 visitors. So 3 editions in Belgium. If you talk about the Netherlands, we have also 3 shows, 2 in Utrecht in the spring and in the fall. And in January, we organize a smaller show in Maastricht. And that's a regional edition where we only target on the south part of the Netherlands. Really interesting visitors group with high budgets, a higher budget than the visitor we are welcoming in Utrecht. Also a smaller show, the one in January next year will be the 4th edition we will organize. 70 exhibitors, 3,000, 3,500 visitors in 2 days. So yeah, that are the different cities. If you talk about the experience of the show, of course, the traditional real estate exhibitions are not that sexy. When it comes to experience, and our exhibitors are real estate agents, developers, and all experts in the field of finance, legal, and tax advice. In this way, we know that all visitors who come in at the show, they only come with one focus, and that's the second home, buying a second home. Our expo actually looks more like a trade show than a public show. To create some extra experience, we have an oyster man and cortador handing out some oysters and Spanish ham. We have a wine bar, so all visitors will get a free glass of wine. It's in the middle of the hall. There's a really good restaurant where you can have fresh food. So yeah, if you look at the show, we pay a lot of attention to the experience and to the decoration of the show. And of course, we encourage our exhibitors to hand over some nice local foods and drinks. So that's, well, if you talk about the experience of the show. Maybe it's good to ask if there are some questions, Peter, from now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've traditionally, like a lot of the media companies, built up through the exhibition side, because that goes back to when the markets were booming in 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But of course, there's online now, which you've grown into, a place in the sun have grown into, people are now in the UK, and that's allowed you to get a lot more data on the buyers and the buyer profiles. So thanks for the introduction on that. Perhaps if Henk-Jan, you could start sharing your screen with the slides that you have, whilst you're clicking buttons to perhaps make that happen, and we'll all get shifted over to one side. There you go. It actually moved as I did my hands, like I was in control, and I'm not. Henk-Jan is driving, as it were. So if we go back to that first slide, Henk-Jan, I think you just skipped ahead one there. My first slide is the one with the graph. There you go.
There you go.
Countries of interest. If you go full screen, there's a lot of detail there that you've been able to get into with the data that you can now get digitally through your website. And I think you should talk about the model for that a little bit later, which I'm sure you will. But where are Dutch and Belgian buyers looking to buy? What's the interest? What are the trends? I can see straight away there's a growth in the Spanish market over the years, which is one of the reasons we're having this call. But it's not my data to explain, it's yours. So I'm going to mute again. Does anyone else want to come in with a question for the guys? And if not, if there's no one coming in, I'll ask Tom or Henk-Jan to walk us through this slide.
Yes, Peter, I'm glad to walk you through the slides. These figures are based on our online property portal figures, where you can see that the demand for the Spanish market is increasing. You can see the orange color for the demand for the Spanish market. So you can see that by the property request, actually the last month of May, we received more property requests coming in from for the Spanish properties than for the Netherlands itself. And we have been increasing. These are about the numbers of between 1,500 and 2,000 information requests per month through our online channels. So all these figures are based on our online property portal channels. But some other, yes, sorry.
Hey, Clem, sorry to interrupt. I'm just conscious we've got Emma on the call and I don't see Turkey there. Emma's particularly interested in Turkey. I take it the numbers are pretty small for Turkey, and maybe that's something you could pick up with Emma after the call. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I guess Turkey's still a fledgling market there, is it?
Yes, it's a little bit of complex, as probably Emma knows, but we just to give Emma an idea of about, I think, 10 years ago at our exhibitions, I think 25% of our exhibitors were from Turkey. You know, so it's been, sure, it's a very popular country for the Dutch and the Belgians to go on holiday to. But since I think the last year and a half, less popular due to the current situation, the local market. So that's why you don't see here. I've also made, we have many different countries that we represent at our exhibitions. We do have exhibitors with Turkish real estate. And we always look into the supply and the demand level to see, for example, we can see now the interest of, for example, Croatia coming up, but we hardly have any relations of doing business with us from the Croatian market. That's why we're now searching to look for partners who sell properties in Croatia. But for the details about the Turkish market, I can get back to Emma later on. But with these facts, you can see a little bit of the movement and also what countries are also very popular, especially for the Dutch, because this is a big mixture of the Belgian and the Dutch market combined together. But the Austrian market is, for example, also a very important market for us. The next sheet that I do want to show you in general of the overview, where we got a larger period of the interest from the Belgian and Dutch buyers. You can see again that the Dutch market is very powerful, also for Belgians to buy. But then again, the number two is by far the Spanish market. And there you can see, for example, the Portuguese market is also a market that's coming back strongly. Italian market, just to give you a little bit of the idea of the facts and the figures from our property portal. This is quite interesting. This got really nothing to do with our second home or with my company. These are really figures that you all know as well, to look more deeply into the Spanish market. These are figures from 2020 that you can see that the UK market is by far the strongest market, 13% of the foreign buyers. But that's why I have put some text behind it for you to just give a little bit of an idea. If you compare the markets together, the UK market, you're talking about almost 66 million inhabitants. And if you look into the Belgian market, which is a lot smaller, 14.5 million, does have 6.4% of the total of the foreigners buying in Spain. So that means on average per capita, there are more Belgians buying than you Brits buying. So that's a big. It's just to give you a little bit of an idea also about the targeting of, for example, property shows that we're doing compared to the London show, for example, of A Place in the Sun. They also cannot reach 66 million inhabitants or to make a selection of people who are interested in Spain. That's the luxury that we have, especially, for example, with the Dutch market, where we have about 120 kilometers reach, and we can almost reach 90% of the inhabitants of the Netherlands. So that's why big difference because of the intensity of the inhabitants living in the Netherlands to reach them by a property show.
If I can just come in, Henk-Jan, so if you just go back to the last slide, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, whichever destination market you're selling, you really have to internationalize your buyer market potential. Sorry, it's the one forward from there, Henk-Jan, if you'd be so kind. So if we add Belgium and the Netherlands together, it's just under 10% of all buyers in, for example, Spain. If you speak English, then you're very fortunate in the world in that because you were so ill-taught with any other language at school, and because Microsoft and IBM kind of made English the international language, if you are only an English speaker down in the costas of Spain, you know, there is a good opportunity that you can sell to other buyer markets, whether it be Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, whatever, because that tends to be the language. So an international approach is certainly good, and a bit of diversification is key. Sorry, Henk-Jan, back to you.
Yes, of course. But it's just for you to give you a little bit of an overview of the comparison. It's good to compare. If you put the Benelux together, you're about 10%. But you do, if you add them together, you still only have about 30 million, so half of the UK inhabitants. So it's just to compare the numbers together. What I think is very important, that's the big change that we can already see, and that's more also due to COVID, is that people are now focusing back on the Mediterranean countries again. So we can see, besides the info request and the feedback from our relations, that the market is really picking up. That's also one of the reasons why we are picking up organizing our show. So our next show will be held in October this year, as well in the Netherlands as in Belgium. Let's see, I think it's important that to know that the differences, we can see that the average price that especially for Spain, that Dutch are buying, is about 260,000 euros, which we can measure of the property requests coming in. It's interesting to also see that it's mainly new build developments, and it's a lot of them that it's in let's say in a modern style, is being built in modern style. So a lot of light coming in, and we can see a big change. That the first editions that we organized was mainly the leisure buyer coming into the show, not too much for the rental part income. But now we can see the average age going down, and also seeing it more as an investment product. That's why we also have more partners with our company that do rental, like HomeAway, Belvilla, probably some of the companies that you're also used to working with for the Spanish market. So that means that.
Henk, can I just ask you a question about whether you're seeing a fundamental shift in some of the searches and the property people are looking for, you know, because of COVID? Are people thinking, why am I living in an apartment in Northern Europe when now I could work anywhere in Europe, or indeed anywhere in the world? And they are relocating, buying a nicer lifestyle, maybe a cheaper property, and that's something that the guys on the call might want to target in terms of their marketing.
Yeah, I think it's now it's really, of course, the last year, as I just said, there are a lot of info property requests, mainly for the local market, and now it's people are just waiting now. Of course, with all the for the Dutch, Spain is still code orange, so it's still for now difficult to fly to. You can do a test and still get in, but only the islands are yellow at the moment. But they expect, the last news from today is that they expect next week to become yellow, so it makes it more accessible. And our relations do expect that immediately the viewings will pick back up again. But if you look into the type of products, yeah, we see the average line of budget, what I just said, combined to the most popular regions for the Belgium and the Dutch are the Costa Blanca and the Costa del Sol. A little bit more Costa Blanca. And you, of course, have some regions, especially for the Belgians, where they are more close together, living together. You're talking about the region of the Costa Blanca North, for example, the Calpe region. You can see a lot of Belgians living there. And then again, you can see in Moreira or Gabia, you see a little bit more Dutch living there.
Henk, I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you want to share your slides again? Because we didn't get to your last slide, which I think's got some of that detail on. So if you'd like to share again and go to your last slide, just while you're pulling that up, we will share with Tom and Henk-Jan's permission all of these slides. So if you've been screen grabbing them, we can promise you a better resolution. Henk-Jan, back to you. Do you want to continue with some? It's kind of small. I have to put my glasses on, but please go ahead and explain.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's not only it's the combination of the facts and figures that we have with our knowledge for the property shows and online, but these are facts and figures where Belgians and Dutch have their own residency, where you can also see the confirmation of the popular regions. Sorry, maybe you cannot read it quite well, but of course it's the logical explanation that the Valencia region, the Costa Blanca and the Costa del Sol are by far the most popular regions for the Belgians and Dutch to buy in. So this is to have a nice overview. Tom, can you tell us a little bit more about the online possibilities? Sorry, Tom, your microphone is off.
Sorry. Just to after your explanation, maybe it's good to tell you something about supply and demand level, Henk-Jan. Because as a organizer role, for us it's really important to level demand and supply. If you talk about the variety of the countries and the type of products. And of course, we cannot determine the second home market and create the level of interest. But for example, if you talk about the Spanish market, well, Spain is really popular. You have seen it in the sheets. But to slow down the number of Spanish agents, we introduced a condition to sign in for a minimum of 3 participation for all new companies sending out an inquiry to us. And well, with this condition, there's some kind of a financial threshold for new startups like buyers who started their own business, but also the old employees who started their own business. And yeah, we've been informed by our relations that the competition is hard. We know that, but we want to prevent to have more agents from Spain at our show. So this is a condition, and it works quite well. So it's also to guard the quality of the agents we have already, and also to guard our business for relations, of course. But that's an important thing to say. For us, it's important to keep in mind that the demand and supply. It's important to level that. If you talk about the property portal, I think we launched it 2 years ago, and our portal is based on a pay-per-lead model. In the past, we had a fixed price package, but we changed it into a pay-per-lead model. So you only pay per information request. We don't charge any subscription fees or startup fees or long-term obligations. You can just add your properties for free by an XML or manually, and you can decide what kind of budget you want to deposit to receive leads. And the lead price, it's depending on the deposit you do, but it's in between 25 and 35 euro per inquiry. The minimum budget to start up is 350 euros, and you will get a complete company profile page. And of course, you can decide to have unlimited properties online.
Can I ask a question here, Peter?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I couldn't see you on the screen. Go ahead, Louise.
Yeah, I don't know where is the sign for raising a hand? I've only got the reactions thing at the bottom. Isn't there somewhere where you can raise a hand? I don't know where it is.
That might be on Teams actually, but look, we're an informal group and there's only a few of us and you're very polite.
If
So go ahead.
if someone knows, they can let me know. It is here on Zoom. I just can find it. But
Go ahead.
Thanks, Tom and Henk. That's very interesting stuff. Can I ask a little bit about what the difference is between the Belgium and Dutch, what they're looking for in a property versus maybe British buyers? I mean, I noticed before you put the slide up showing the map and where your markets are buying, I got the impression, although the numbers on the map seem to show that Costa del Sol was as important as Costa Blanca, because you first of all started saying Costa Blanca is very is popular and north of Calpe. Is Costa Blanca more popular than Costa del Sol for the Benelux markets?
Yes, the Costa Blanca is a little bit, we do receive more requests for the Costa Blanca than the Costa del Sol. Not a lot more, but we do receive a bit more, and we can really divide them up to see what we have: the Costa Blanca South, of course, and the Costa Blanca North, and the Costa del Sol. Yes, that's correct.
It's interesting because I think that probably we're the reverse, aren't we? The Brits more sort of Costa del Sol and Costa Blanca. What is it that's attracting them more to Costa Blanca? I mean, if it's only marginal versus Costa del Sol, what's the appeal for the Benelux market over and above Costa del Sol?
It's not a big differences. So okay. I cannot say that it's a lot more popular, the Costa Blanca. I think it's just pure by numbers that we got out of the system from the past year. We can see that it's pretty much the same, slightly a little bit more for Costa Blanca. What's the big differences? Yeah, I think it's for the target group with maybe a little bit lower budgets is of course the Costa Blanca South, an interesting region because it's of course cheaper than Costa Blanca North.
Yeah. And
in average, of course I'm talking about average, the Costa del Sol is more expensive than the Costa Blanca South.
And what is the average spend for the Benelux market buying in the Costa, if you put Costa Blanca North and Costa Blanca South, because try to compare that to British buyers?
Yeah, I can find that out and share that with you.
Oh, okay.
I do have the overview, which I just said about the Spanish market in general, but not about the regions separately. But I can get that for you and share that. That's no problem.
Well, even roughly speaking, is it sort of 300,000-400,000 versus 150,000 euros? Just to give us sort of ballpark, because
it's very difficult because it's the Costa Blanca North is of course more towards pricing of your region, the Costa del Sol. You know, so if you buy something in Moreira or Altea, you can also have the same pricing as you have in the Costa del Sol.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to say. If you look into the other side towards our exhibitors about our relations selling on our shows, you can see more a bigger competition of Costa Blanca real estate agents than the Costa del Sol. I think that's
maybe it has also something to do with the number of the new build projects in the Costa Blanca, because the Belgians and the Dutch people, they are really focused on new build projects, and maybe you will find more new build projects in the Alicante area, the Costa Blanca, than in the Costa del Sol.
Linda, did you have a question?
Yes, please. Hi guys, thank you very much for the information so far. I'm Linda and I run a company called Casa Travella, and I sell in Italy. I don't sell in Spain. I sell in Italy and have been for many years. And my market has always been international. I sell all over the world. And I have in the past sold to Dutch and Belgium and even Luxembourg, whatever. But have you seen, I had a quick look at the chart. Have you seen an increase? It looked like there was a little bit of an increase, but obviously it's not a big market by the look of your slides, etc.
Mm-hmm. The differences between, let me show you the slides again. This is the slide I think you're talking about?
Yeah, on the other one before where you...
This one, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that it's a small increase, but I have the exact numbers on this figure is difficult to say. But I can share, especially for you, because of what I said also in the beginning of the presentation, more detailed information about the Italian market to you after this webinar. So you can have a look on the experience that we've had, also with as well with the exhibition numbers, and also with based on the location that you have your properties in, because you're selling in the full of Italy or just regional in Italy?
I sell almost all over. I mean, I sell in the south, I sell in Tuscany, I sell in Lake Como, Liguria, Calabria.
Okay. If you're okay with that, I can share you information about the webinar with you, or more detailed information that you prefer. See, it's also, I think it's also important for all of you to know that we're not here selling stands or selling our property portal. We just would like to introduce you to our market. And I think for any questions, even if it's not a stand at our show or not for advertising with us, just about where to advertise, what properties are popular, we can share a lot of more in detailed information. But Tom and I were discussing, and we can talk about this, of course, for hours, but we try to put it as much packed together. So for you to pick some information out, and please, after this webinar or through AIPP, we can share our details. So you can even send us a quick note, ask us what kind of information you need, or what kind of relations that we have compared to your products. We'll be happy to introduce you to other companies who have experience on our market. Yeah, in order for you maybe to get some additional sales that's from new channels that maybe you're not used to work with, but we're also, that's why I think it's important that especially the Belgians and the Dutch are fine with talking English. They're fine with discussing details. And also what helps us, of course, a lot with those facts, figures about, for example, the online property portal, that all elements have been automatically translated because 90% of our visitors log in with the Dutch language. But as you know, if I receive, for example, from you, Linda, an XML file with properties, they're not going to be in Dutch. So we are presenting them in Dutch, and it works. We do get as many requests coming in from companies with an XML, which we translate with the standard elements, than we do with the text that we get in automatically through an XML. But yeah, our main goal here is just to be able for you all to find us, to call us if you have any questions, and yeah, of course, to help you with information to share. But especially the Italian market, actually Tom and I did the webinar because this is new for us, the B2B webinars that we're doing with AIPP. The last one we actually did was a B2C seminar that Tom and myself did together with an Italian relation, Italia Casa, maybe you've heard of them. And that's where I think we had about, what was it, Tom, 500-600 potential buyers logging in, and we had a Q&A open and it just overloaded. It was crazy, but it's with that it's more to say that it's different kind of questions that we get in from buyers for Italy, as you know, than for new build developments, for example, in Spain. Not to say that it's all being new built in Spain, but it's a lot of more different questions, a little bit more complex questions actually that we get from the Italian market. But I'm sure you can agree that you have more detailed, more more struggles with certain elements on the market.
So thank you very much. Yes, I've done webinars for a place in the sun before, and yes, I've been doing it for years. So more than happy. I'm interested anyway, because I've always sold to the Dutch and the Belgium. Anyway, I'm quite interested. So thank you very much.
Yeah, but let's. I'll provide you with more information after the webinar about the Italian market.
Louise, thank you, Linda. Louise raised her hand. She's found the button to do it. Louise, go ahead. Question.
No. I was just saying it didn't actually appear on my thing. It's in the when you click on participants, you've got all the participants, and it's in the bottom right-hand corner. Raise hand.
Oh, is it?
Sorry.
No, reactions. It's under reactions.
Do that.
It's not. Those reactions are.
It is reactions. Raise hand.
Yeah,
see
no,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's also in participants. No,
Yeah.
I can't see that. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Sorry,
You're here
yeah,
now.
no, those reactions only last for I don't know, 20 seconds and then they disappear.
Okay,
But sorry,
go ahead.
I didn't. No, I didn't mean to distract. I was just.
You were playing with the buttons, Louise.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mine's still up there.
No,
My hand. I
Clay.
can be heard through yours.
Anyway, guys, when we scheduled this, we scheduled it for about 40 minutes, and we're just up on time on that. And I kind of sense that you know we may have been wrapping up inadvertently in sharing Tom and Henk-Jan's email address there. I can absolutely confirm that the guys are just really happy to talk about their markets and to share information with you. They do take the long-term view that they would like you to obviously come and be a client when it's right for you, when you have the right information and you're ready to do so. They will dissuade you from doing things with them at their commercial loss if they think it won't work for you, and they'll advise what to do for the best. You can dip your toe in the water digitally and only pay per lead. That's great. So if you're interested in doing that, that seems to be an easy route in. I can promise you that Ghent is a fabulous place to visit and visit one of their shows and have a good look around some fantastic medieval architecture while you're there. So look, are there any further questions for Tom or Henk-Jan? If not, I think we're probably at a natural end there. Any questions?
Well, I just want to add to your information about first of all, to thank you again for giving us the time to introduce ourselves. And yes, we can talk for hours about our markets into detail, but we try to keep it pretty much as general as possible, as we agreed on, Peter. So please, if you have you feel the urge to contact us, we can set up a meeting, a Zoom meeting privately, and we can discuss more in detail about the market in general. And maybe we can help you out by doing just business, maybe not even through our channels, but do hopefully on our market. Because I think besides our company, I think that it's very interesting to focus on the Belgium and the Dutch market. Why? Simply because probably the same reasons that you're used to with the UK market. The interest rates are negative. People who have money on their bank account have to start paying in Holland and in Belgium. The first property houses market is booming. There's a lot of savings on the accounts of the Belgians and the Dutch. And we're all waiting for the borders to open up, to drive to Spain, to Italy, to Turkey. So I think it's a perfect timing in that case to focus on new markets. And I think I've visited myself, Place in the Sun many times. I get a lot of information from Peter as well about the UK market. But I think it's not a big step to focus also on the Benelux market. Don't worry about the language. We speak perfectly, at least we understand perfectly. We don't speak perfectly, but we understand it perfectly. So yeah, please contact us if you have any questions at all. Tom and I are also going to be in the Costa Blanca, Costa del Sol, and in the Lisbon region this summer for meetings, and we can always step by to discuss opportunities together or help you out with anything. So I want to thank you for your time from our side.
Thank you, Henk-Jan. Very, very nice, very succinct. Rob, did you have a question? You raised your hand. You're muted. You're muted, Rob. If you have something to say, I'll put you on the spot there.
Yeah, this new technology gets me every time. No, just wanted to say thanks to the guys, and certainly interested in the portal primarily. So I'll be emailing the guys and see how we can go forward with that.
That's good to hear, Rob. And you're selling Spain, is that right?
Yeah, trying to, yeah.
Which part?
Well, we're all on the East Coast and a little bit in Marbella, which we're trying to get into now. I think I'd try and sell one bigger one than 3 or 4 little ones. It's the old adage. It always works.
It certainly is. Thanks, Rob. Okay. Anything from anyone else? Because Henk-Jan has brought us to a conclusion with a nice summary. Anything from anyone else before we let you go?
Yeah, also from my side, thank you all for taking the time. And if you have any questions, please let us know. We're not the company who wants to sell stands. We're more the advisors, and it would be great to work together. That's our goal.
Thank you, Tom. Well said. Okay, guys. Well, anything from anyone else? I feel like an auctioneer. Going.
Yes, going. Well, perfectly in time, Peter.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much for today. And Emma, I'm sorry there wasn't a lot on Turkey for you there, but guess what? If you were to do something, you might be the only game in town on Turkey, and that might bring something. So look, guys, happy Wednesday. Yeah, happy Wednesday evening. Have a good one. It's very warm here in the UK. I might be having a glass of something a little later on. I'll raise my glass to you. And there we go. So cheerio. Thanks to Henk-Jan.
Thank you.
Thanks to Tom. That's how we show our appreciation.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye,
Have a nice day.
Henk-Jan. Bye-bye, Tom. Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.